The markets are recovering, but the question is for how long? What's going on, guys? It's Ricky with TechBet Solutions here with a super quick market update. Wanted to show you guys that today $1.35 trillion was added to the market. The thing that I want to make sure is very well understood is that just like we talked about in today's earlier video, I waited until like 1 hour, 2 hours after the market opened. NASDAQ market, which is QQQ, and even SPY were showing signs of progress, but not really. Most of this action of where most of the money was made, the $1.35 trillion, were the people that bought into Friday of last week that carried it over into Monday. That's where the big gap up, right? This is the close on Friday, and we randomly spiked up for no reason. Do you guys remember that? Not just for the S&P 500, but also the NASDAQ market. We spiked up for no reason. And then during overnight hours and extended hours, we gapped up. So if you traded during normal trading hours, and this is why I made the video earlier today that I did, is that please be very careful buying at these levels because, again, although direction is in your favor right now, what happens if markets do end up returning back to previous lows, right? If we look at the NASDAQ market, we look at previous lows and the pullback potential based off of what it actually and how much it actually grew by from when the market opened to the when the market closed. Let me pull that up very quickly. From when the market opened to when the market closed, it grew about 0.5%. Okay, not terrible, right? For QQQ, that's the NASDAQ ETF. But if we look at the rest of big tech companies, even something like Tesla did have a nice little upswing into the close. But if you look at where most of the action happened, again, overnight, and then right within the first hour to 2 hours of the market open, after that, we began to trade sideways into the market close. So again, the pullback potential was significantly greater, right? At one point, Tesla was consolidating when it was already up 9 to 10% on the day. So yes, it did close 11%, almost 12% in the green. So you had a potential for 2% of potential profit, but the downside risk was 10%. So again, when taking risk to reward into consideration, don't be bothered by the idea of you missing out when, again, the big play, most of the money that was made from Friday to Monday during the overnight session, right? And at that point, you had to carry the position over the weekend. Other than that, if we look at the rest of big tech, Apple was pretty much flat for the entire day. If we look at NVIDIA, it did see some progress, but then began to trade sideways. And this is one of my favorite ones out of all. MSTR, let me go ahead and pull it up very quickly. MSTR did not look like, again, it was showing much progress into the aftermarket trading session. So we pumped, we pulled back, we indicated signs of an uptrend, we peaked, and now we're down 2.2% during the extended hours. As Bitcoin begins to retrace, what do you think is going to happen with MSTR? Just a simple question to begin to ask yourself, right? Especially with these weaker and more overvalued companies that are all derived around Bitcoin's price. Remember, MSTR is a piece of crap company that doesn't actually have any actual business. The only thing that it's known for is it borrows against its shareholders by borrowing at 0% interest so it can buy Bitcoin. That's the only way that they make money. If you look at the actual business, it's not an opinion, it's a fact. They lose money every single quarter. They don't lose a few million, they lose hundreds of millions of dollars every single quarter with the actual company of MicroStrategy. But other than that, the thing that I quickly wanted to highlight is, again, that Reddit post that a lot of us were paying attention to over the weekend, where supposedly there was these group of individuals. If you guys did not see it, I made a video about it because it sounded so crazy, right? Tesla has already lost at one point over 50% of its value. When Tesla was trading at highs of almost $500, $488 per share, yeah, at that point it did make sense to possibly short Tesla when you had confirmation because it's so extremely overbought that it had a lot of pullback potential. Risk to reward, it kind of made sense. After losing 50%, when it goes from $488 down to $215, and you still think that you're going to stick it to Elon, again, you're just really putting yourself in a tough spot. Tesla is one of the most heavily traded stocks. It's one of the most heavily traded stocks consistently almost every single day in the market. So with that being said, again, when they see that potential idiots are trying to short Tesla to try to stick it to Elon, yeah, markets recovered a little bit, but that only added to the momentum for Tesla. Now, don't get me wrong. Is it a terrible idea to short Tesla? No, right? Just like we shared in yesterday's video, a ton of people made, I think altogether it was about $16 billion that was made as Tesla sold off from highs to current lows. But you just have to be very careful that when something is beginning to show signs of a support, that you respect that regardless of your opinion. There was a post that said, let's stick it to Elon. Let's open up a brokerage account, deposit as much money you can, buy a put option and let it expire on June 20th, 2025 for $100 strike. And then again, supposedly this post was made by someone named Garcia. I don't know who that is, but it looks like people actually did it. 23,425 open interest on this put. And I think this is what they're referring to, 23,425. I don't know how something like this is legal, where you promote something and you're doing it as a troll, where you're encouraging people step by step on what they should do with their money, and then it ends up turning against them. Now, obviously, it hasn't expired just yet, but I'm sure, again, trust me, it made no sense to be shorting Tesla at those levels. It makes more sense to be shorting Tesla possibly right now, right, at these overbought levels if the actual, momentum ends up slowing down. But again, it's never based off of the emotion or hope. It's, does the trade actually meet your criteria? Now that Tesla has pushed up a decent amount, now I really am looking at it for a potential short opportunity if price action supports it. If it doesn't, then I'll respect it and let this thing continue to push up higher for longer. But the thing that I do want to remind you, and again, I've always shared my good views and my, the pros and the cons of any company like this. The thing that I want to remind you is that Tesla is currently not in the best position. There is a lot of backlash, not just against Elon and against Tesla with the attacks, but if you actually look at its guidance for 2025, it's not looking too hot for Tesla. Interest rates are not coming down as quick as they once expected. So therefore, you can't just expect demand to pick up quicker or more now than ever before. Sales are projected to be lower. And again, they are set to report earnings next month. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Tesla reports for Q1 of 2025, because fundamentally, if Tesla is not there, it's going to put Tesla in a very, very tough spot to see if Elon has to return back to get the ball moving with Tesla, or if he can continue doing what he's doing right now with the DOGE. But again, obviously taking a pretty big hit when it comes down to Tesla stock price. So overall, I'm very excited to follow up. I'll make sure that I keep you guys up to date on all the good news and bad news that I hear, not just about the overall market, but of course Tesla as well. And I hope to see you for tomorrow's live trading session. Again, I do trade live every single morning. Today, I just feel like, again, the market was a little bit too overbought right at market open, so I decided not to trade. Hopefully tomorrow we have a little bit more of a better opportunity of what ends up presenting itself. So I hope to see you there. Second link in the description down below. And again, it's going to be right at market open. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.